The primary focus in this class is to make you understand how to order multiple adjectives when they come before a nominal item in sentences. Maybe it's a nominal subject or a nominal object. And you remember the previous lab made videos on the other adverbs in the English language, especially how this examination bodies test students on them. This concept, also the concept of order of adjectives, is one important area that students or candidates are tested on in examinations, whether it's a white nickel or jam. So I'm going to be using this two questions to explain the concept of order of adjectives. Now, different teachers have different acronyms, different formulas, different mnemonics that work for them. Now, in my case, there's been this formula that I've used over time that I found to be very effective in determining the right ordering of adjectives. Regardless of the formula or the mnemonic or acronym that you prefer, all that matters is that these different formulas should give us the same answer and with clarity. So you have the choice of sticking whatever works for you. Now, in my own case, when we talk about the ordering of adjectives in the English language, especially when you have multiple of them, now the formula that works for me that I found to be very effective over time is the Mossack VNH. Mossack VNH. Mossack VNH. Right. Okay, so first of all, the last H here is the noun being described, the noun you want to describe, the noun you want to point out, the noun you want to define with the series of adjectives. So this here, the H here simply stands for head word. Head word. That's the noun. So you don't have to put any focus on this. All that you have to pay attention to is what we have here up onto this place, okay? So the M here stands for modifier, 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 okay? The O, okay, the O stands for opinion, opinion, opinion. I'm going to explain. The S here stands for the first S. Okay, I should do it this way. Let's put it this way. M modifier, modifier. That's what M stands for. Sh. O is opinion. Okay. Mossack S. The first S stands for size, size. The next S, which is the second S, stands for shape, shape, shape. The A stands for age. The A stands for age. Okay. The C stands for color. Okay, color. Now the V here stands for verbal. Verbal, verbal adjectives. I'm going to explain all of this. Verbal adjective. Verbal from the word verb. Okay. Then the N stands for nominal, nominal adjectives. Right. So this is the formula, the acronym that works for me very effectively in the ordering of adjectives. So the first, Mossack VNH, Mossack VNH, Mossack VNH, Mossack VNH. Where the M stands for modifier, the O stands for opinion adjectives, the S stands for size, the second S stands for shape, the I here is age, the C color, the V verbal adjectives, the N nominal adjective, and the H is just the head word. Now, what is the modifier? The modifier simply stands for determiners, such as determiners such as articles, articles through articles, a, and the the there. You have demonstrative, the full demonstrative, they, that, those, these. And then you have cardinals, ordinals, cardinals first, second, third, ordinals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just numbers, or you have quantifiers. So all of those are examples of adjectives that fall under the modifier. So basically, modifiers are determinants, the articles, they are demonstratives, the quantifiers, just adjectives that talk about other adjectives. They come before every other adjective. Modifiers should come first in the order of adjectives. Now, what is the opinion adjectives or adjectives that talk about quality, the value of the noun being talked about. And these usually are, and usually opinion adjectives talk about the subjective judgment of the speaker. You know, what is subjective to me, what is subjectively beautiful to me might be ugly to you, and what's important to you may be less important to me. What I consider to be expensive might be very cheap to you. What I consider to be or the person that I consider to be very intelligent may be unintelligent to you. So adjectives that talk about the subjectivity and the judgment of the speaker is what we consider, is what we regard as opinion adjectives. So in the order of adjectives, the modifiers such as the articles, nominals, determiners, cardinals, all of these things come before opinion adjectives. And after the modifiers, you have opinion adjectives such as expensive, such as intelligent, such as brilliant, such as beautiful, such as ugly. You know, every man will assume that their girlfriend or the woman, the wife, is the most beautiful in the world, you know, including the one whose wife is, you know, has physical impertinence, you know. So that's opinion. A dwarf will say that his wife is the most beautiful. A woman who has a dwarf husband will say a husband is the most handsome. You know that. So all of those adjectives are known as opinion adjectives. I hope that is clear. So after that we have size. You know, size, how big, how small, maybe tall, short something is. So you have big, you have huge, humongous, magnificent. So all of these are some examples of adjectives that fit under size. And after that, we have shape, rounded, rectangular, circular. So all the shapes, oval, spherical, these are examples of adjectives that come under the shape. Then we have age. So age is talking about the newness of something or how something is. So you have ancient, you have old, you have modern, you have new. These are some examples that come under age, okay? Or you want to talk about old fashioned. These are examples of adjectives talking about age. So the C here is color. And of course, you know what colors are. Your red, your black, the pink, you know, the white, you know, all of the colors, gray, ash, it's a C. So we have V here. The V here simply stands for verbal adjectives. These are adjectives that are formed by verbs. And these are verbs that end in ed, en, or ing. You know, when you have something like, let's say, given, okay, forsaken, you know, forsaken son, what? Why the noise? Forsaken son. You know, it's okay. I'm not sure if I'm still with the frame. I'm not sure if I'm with the frame. So let me take that again. So talking about the verbal adjectives. Talking about verbs that end in ed, en, or ing. So when you have a verb that is functioning as an adjective, and with the verb ending in ed, en, or ing, that verb is a verbal adjective. Okay. An example is a forsaken woman, a forsaken son, forsaken, forsaken. So this is a verb from forsake. To forsake something means to neglect something, to abandon. So when you add "en" to that, you are forsaken, a forsaken son, an abandoned human being, an abandoned building. So abandon in building is an adjective that is talking about the nature of the class of the house we're talking about. Okay, so forsaken, demanded, reprimanded, criminal. So hardened criminal, hardened. You know, to harden something is to make it solid, is to swallow the fire, or to make it more solid, or to make it solid. So when you say hardened criminal, you're describing the kind of criminal the person is. So the adjective that we use to describe the criminal is hardened, and hardened is a verb, is a verbal adjective. So that is that about V, verbal adjectives. And then we have nominal adjectives. Like the verbal adjectives, nominal adjectives are adjectives that are realized by nouns, you know. And in the case of nominal adjectives, in the case of N, let me stand this way. In the case of N, we have two types of nominal adjectives. We have two types. Yes, we have two types. The first is you have what is called the origin, and then we have number two, we have the material. Number two, we have material. Under the N, We have two types of adjectives there. We have the origin and we have the material. So basically, the origin is talking about the nationality of the noun being talked about, or the place of production of what has been talked about. For example, a Nigerian English teacher. Nigerian English teacher. Nigerian, the word Nigerian is a nominal adjective, and the type of nominal adjective in this case is the origin. So, because Nigerian, the word Nigerian is talking about the nationality of the person being talked about, or just a Nigerian hair. So, is it a Brazilian hair, American hair? So, the hair we're talking about in this case, the hair we're describing is the one from America, or the one from Nigeria, or the one from Brazil. So, like I said, N is divided into two. We have the origin and you have the material. The origin is talking about the place that the noun being talked about comes from or is produced. So, material on the other end is talking about what the items that you put together to create the noun being talked about, to create a head word. If you want to, for example, we can have something like a leather bag, a Nigerian leather bag. Nigerian leather bag. Now, the leather bag is talking about the material from which the bag is made. Or another example is you want to say a clay pot. A Nigerian clay pot. Clay pot. Which port are we talking about? A Nigerian clay port. Nigerian is talking about the place of origin, the place where the port is made, is created. So the clay is the material that the port is made up of. Are we clear with that? And finally, the H is the head word. And that, of course, is the noun being talked about. So if you want to attend these questions, using this formula, make sure that you look for modifiers first of all, and after that, you identify what opinion adjective is. Then you understand, you identify what a size adjective is. You understand what a shape adjective is. You understand what a age adjective is. You understand what their color is. You understand what a verbal adjective is. You understand what a nominal adjective is. And other nominal adjectives, we have two types. We have the origin and we have the material. The origin comes before the material. The material is usually the last thing before the head word. The origin comes before the material. The material is usually the last thing before the noun being talked about. So let's use this acronym to answer the two questions we have on the board. The first question says, Taya purchased a dash handbag for her wedding. So we have a handbag. The H here is the handbag. The H is the handbag. That is the noun being described. The H is the handbag. So what type of handbag are we talking about? Tayo is a human being purchased a dash handbag for wedding. Now option A, Tayo purchased a large, beautiful Nigerian new leather bag. A large, beautiful Nigerian new leather bag. Now, what does large represent? What type of adjective is large? That is size. Size. So that means we're starting with size. In the case of option A, this is size, right? Okay. Now, beautiful, when you say someone is beautiful, it's subjective. Someone who's beautiful to you might be ugly to me. Somebody who's ugly to me might be beautiful to you. So that is subjective. The right judgment is actually dependent on the bias of the person speaking. So beautiful is opinion, is an opinion adjective. That is, size, opinion. Now look at size is coming before opinion. And from the formula, size should come after opinion. So with this structure, you know that this option is wrong. But of course, let's continue to analyze the rest of the words in the option. So large, beautiful. Nigerian is talking about the nationality of the bag. That is the place from which the bag is produced, the place of production of the bag. Nigerian, that is, from the structure here, that is nominal. So Nigerian, that is nominal adjective. And the nominal adjective here is the nationality, which is the origin. Origin, okay. And let's number this way first of all. Let's say M is 1, okay. Opinion is 2, size is 3, shape is 4, age is 5, C, color is 6, V is 7, nominal is 8. Okay, then H is 9. We don't need H. Now let's use number in number system. I think that'll be fine. That will help us get it better. So large here, large is talking about size. That's number three. Three, okay. Beautiful is opinion. That is two. Nigerian is eight, which is the nationality, right? Okay. Then we have new. Age is talking about new, old, modern, ancient. So where is age? Age is number five. Okay. Then a leather bag. Leather is the material, from which the bag is made. So leather is the material which is still N8. Okay. Remember, I did say that under N, we have two types, the origin and the material. The material always comes before, is the last thing before the head word. So with this structure, 3, 2, 8, 5, 8, this is a wrong number system. So that's why option I is wrong. Option B, we have beautiful, large, new, leather, Nigerian. Beautiful is opinion, that is 2. Beautiful is opinion. Large is size. What is size? Size is 3. 3. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's do it this way. This one is 2. This is 3. Okay. New is talking about age, and that is 5. 5. 5. Okay, leather is still talking about N, which is nominal adjectives. That is the material. And then we have 8. But the problem is here. The problem is here. This should be 8, 1. This should be 8, 2. And this should be 8, 1. Did you see that? Leather shouldn't come before Nigeria. Nigeria should come before leather. So this option would have been actually correct. They should have been correct, but it is wrong because of the ordering of the leather before Nigeria. So this option is equally very wrong. Now let's check C. Nigerian beautiful large new leather. Of course, Nigerian is 8. And 8, the 8 in this case is 8, 1. It's supposed to be 8, 1 because origin should come before material 8, 1. Beautiful is talking about opinion, and that is 2. This option is also wrong. Then we have large, it's talking about size. Size is number 3. New is number 5, which is age. New is age. And then we have leather is talking about N is also 8, but the 8 in this case is 8, 2. Material is 8, 2, while the origin is 8, 1. So this structure is also wrong. You don't start counting from 8. You have 8, 2, 3, 5, 8. Makes no sense. Let's check option D. Option D is talking about beautiful, large, new Nigerian leather. Tayo purchased a beautiful, large, new Nigerian leather bag. Let's see. Beautiful is talking about opinion, which is 2, right? That's 2. We have large. Large is talking about size. Size is 3. New is talking about age, which is 5. Then we have Nigerian, which is 8. That's the origin. Now, origin is 8, 1. Remember, origin is 8, 1. And then we have leather. Leather is also N, which is material, 8, 2. So 1, okay, we have 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 8. We have 8, 1, we have 8, 2. So this is the correct option. And you might be confused as to why option B is not correct. Now, because you have beautiful, beautiful, you have large, you have new, okay? Then you have here, this is where the problem is. You have leather, you have Nigerian, you have leather. Remember when you have this structure, the origin should be 8, 1, should always come before the material. The material always comes last before the head word being described. So that is that about question 1. Tayo purchased a beautiful, large, new Nigerian leather bag. Leather should be the last thing pointing to the noun being described. Finally, question 2. Male drivers always look for dash wheel. Option A, a second-hand, rubber cheap wheel. Option B, a rubber cheap second-hand wheel. C, a cheap rubber second-hand wheel. D, a cheap second-hand rubber wheel. What's the right answer? Let's use the same principle here. Let's identify from the option, what we have in the mnemonic, the acronym. Now, A is an article, right? That is modifier. When I was introducing the idea, I did say that modifier simply refers to articles A-N-T-H-E there. It refers to cardinals, ordinals, determinants. So those are examples of, or numbers, numbers are ordinals. So those are examples of modifier. A is the M, right? Modifier is A. So A is number 1, right? M, modifier 1. Okay, second hand. What do you call a second hand? Second hand is giving the idea of something old. A second hand, something that is not original, something that is not new. When you say a second hand, when you say a car is a second hand car, it means it is not new, it is old, it's being used, not new. So, second hand is talking about age. It's talking about the age of the wheel, how old the wheel is or how new it is. So second hand is talking about age, and age is number 5. So second hand here is 5. Rubber, cheap. Rubber, a rubber wheel is talking about, rubber here is talking about the material, of the wheel. Is it an iron wheel? But it is a rubber. It is not a plastic wheel. It is not a wooden wheel. It is not a wooden. The material from which the wheel is made is rubber. So here, the rubber here is material. So which is N. So rubber is 8. But what type of 8 is this? Remember, the material is always 8, 2. 8, 2, 8, 2. Or 8B, cheap, expensive. That is talking about opinion, the opinion of the speaker. So this is opinion, which is 2. Look at the number system. We have 1, 5, 8, 2. This is wrong. Rather, we should have 1, 2, 5, 8. So this option is wrong. Now let's check B. Most drivers always look for dash wheel, a rubber cheap second-hand wheel. A is the modifier, which is 1, okay? Modifier 1. The rubber is talking about the material of the wheel, and that is that is number 8. Remember, the rubber, the material is always 8-2. Don't forget that, 8-2. Cheap is talking about cheap, expensive, is talking about the opinion. Is something that is debatable, it's subjective. What's expensive to you may be cheap to another. What is cheap to you may be expensive to another, depending on your financial capacity or your financial strength. So cheap is talking about opinion, that is 2. 2. Then we have second hand, that is talking about age. Age is 5. 5. So the number here, this is also wrong because we have 1, 8, 2, 5, 1. Because we have 1, 8, 2, 5, 1, 8, 2, 5. Here we have 1, 5, 8, 2. 1, 5, 8, 2. So let's go to option C. A cheap rubber second hand. A cheap rubber second hand. A is 1, which is modifier. Cheap, of course, that's an article. Cheap is still talking about opinion. Cheap, opinion is number 2. Rubber is the material, which is 8-1. Second hand is talking about age, and age is 5. So this option is also wrong because the order is 1, 2, 8, 1, and then we have 5. 1, 2, 8, 5. Makes no sense. So let's check the last option. Most drivers always look for dash wheel for a cheap second-hand rubber wheel. A is 1, which is the modifier, article, cheap. So I can clean this now. I can clean this. A is 1, cheap. That is opinion, which is 2. Right. Second hand is talking about age, which is 5. Rubber is talking about material, which is 8-2. So 1, 2, 5, 8. That is the right answer. So with that, we've come to the end of this class. Remember, I did mention that there are different formulas that work for different teachers, but for me, I like the most have been age. And if you have another option that works for you, come on, stick to that. Remember, I said before, all that matters is that we arrive at the same answer in a clearer manner. So that will be all about this video. And maybe in the next, we have maybe 2 more exercises, and then we'll call it a wrap on this concept. Then we'll move to the next one. If you found this content useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to this channel, and share this content to as many people who may need it. Remember to keep speaking right and keep learning right. Bye.